Hey, everybody. Welcome to the What the Wealthy Do podcast, where we take the tips, tricks, and cheat codes of the wealthy and break them down and show you how you can apply them on your wealth building journey in your real life. I'm Stephanie Dorsey. I'm your host. I am the CEO and co-founder of Margins Capital. Margins Capital is an investment firm that provides access to institutional quality portfolio of alternative investments to women and people of color. And today we're going to focus on something that's not generally discussed much in our community. I hinted to it in an earlier episode when I talked about money mindset, but today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the psychology of money as well as risk. Yes. See, most of us think that money is just about adding or subtracting or dividing or multiplying, but it's really not. Money is about our behaviors. Money is about psychology. And if you don't really understand your behaviors, your emotions, the psychology, your appetite for risk, and how that plays into how you make decisions about money, then all of the financial strategies will mean nothing to you. They will not help you. Wealthy people know themselves. I've told you this before. They know they deserve wealth. They trust in their ability to either themselves figure out how to get money or leverage the tools around them, i.e. people on the payroll that know how to get money. And so it's important for us to understand ourselves as well as we are on this wealth building journey. So let's jump into it. I read a couple of years ago this book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and I just think it's a must read. It's so freaking important. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about my 3 takeaways from that book. I highly recommend you read it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about risk and how to assess your risk profile. So back to the psychology of money. The very first thing that stood out to me about that book was Morgan talked about wealth is not about knowledge, it's about your behavior. He says that your financial success is not a hard science. It's not, and a lot of people would argue that finance is purely quantitative, but it's not, right? It is really about being able to behave in a certain manner and basically have discipline when shit is going crazy around you, like in the midst of a storm. I saw this amazing video about, it says something to the effect that, like, you can't say if I would have put $100 into Bitcoin back in 2009, I would be a billionaire, because the problem with that statement, it doesn't take into account all of the ups and downs and crypto winners and all of that happened, right? So like if you put $100 and then it grew to like $50,000, like, do you sell? Do you keep it in? All right, say you kept it in. Say it went up to like a couple $100 million. Do you sell or do you keep it in, right? And then say it dropped down to $20 million. Do you sell or do you keep it in? And then it went back to $500 million. Do you sell or do you keep it in? You see? And so those are the type of things that really contributed to whether or not you say, like, if I invested X amount of money, I would have kept it in. Now, admittedly, I do have one of those stories, because I do feel like if in business school, and I'm gonna say this every time, but this is a wonderful reminder for me to do what I say I'm going to do. So like in business school, if I had invested $1,000 into Apple in 2009 instead of tricking off going to Vail or Croatia or India, I would have over $2 million now. Admittedly, it begs the question, would you? Right? Because I know people who invested during that time, but they sold it. And would I have sold it? Certainly during that part of my life, I probably would have sold it. Like, But I know now, though, I wouldn't. So anyway, behavior. You need to know how you currently behave, and then you need to figure out how you wish to behave and start to become that investor or that person who manages their money. Like, you should be an investor. Everyone should be an investor. But like, you want to embody that. Oh, this is one that I was just like, I definitely clutched my pearls on this one, or my fake Cuban link. No one is rational when it comes to money. And I pride myself on being a rational, thoughtful, disciplined person. But he was like, when it comes to money, everybody's emotional. Everybody is, including you. And he's right. It's crazy. The way we handle money, the way we think about money is shaped by our childhood, it's shaped by our caregivers and the presence or absence of money during critical points in our lives. And all of that DNA, if you will, it impacts how we show up today in this very moment and our relationship with money. It's emotional, even though I try really, really, really hard to not be emotional, but I am. And if you are probably honest with yourself, you are too. And then the last part of this is wealth is what you don't see. So a lot of us see people flexing for the gram, or, even right now, like you see the aesthetic influencers and all of the women or men who buy the cars and the jewelry and have the purses and the shoes and all the shopping sprees, or the summers in Europe and all of that. And the truly wealthy people only buy those things when they can truly afford it, right? There is a friend of mine who I will not mention because he listens to my podcast. Hey, Chris, said to me a long time ago, he probably don't even remember he said this to me, but he was like, if you see me driving a Range Rover, you need to rob me now, right? And what he was saying was, that means I have a lot of money, because if y'all know anything about Range Rovers, they're so sensitive and you cannot drive them hard because they're going to cost you a lot of money in maintenance and whatever. But he's basically saying, like, I have so much money that I don't even give a shit about that. I have enough money to buy this car 2, 3, 4 times over, even more than that. And I'm buying it because I want to. I'm tricking off on a car, and that means I got a lot of money. Now, don't get me wrong. When I graduated from business school, I had to trick off too. I got me a Lexus. I leased a Lexus. I leased it though because I knew that this was a short-term trick off kind of situation, and I'm just going to have it for 2 years. And I sure did. After that, I got myself a Toyota Corolla because it was a lot more like, I considered myself to be a fiscally responsible person, and that was me being a fiscally responsible person. But anyway, we all have our moments, and I really kind of feel like it's somehow in our DNA as a Black person. I mean, that's just my thought, but we just gotta have it. We look fly, we gotta feel good. But I do feel the most liberated. Like, I have the purses I want, I have the car that I want to drive, and it is a nice little American made, shout out to Michigan Chevrolet. But I just don't feel like I need anything materialistic right now. And so that it's just a stress that I don't have on me. And I just recommend anybody, if y'all can get to that point where you just really don't care about that stuff, it's really great. Like right now, I care about these businesses. I care about building wealth, and I care about building it silently. Now, if you see me in a Van Cleef necklace or a Cartier stack of bracelets, other than my love beads right now, don't come from my neck, and don't rob me. Even though it does mean I have a lot of money. But don't rob me, please. All right, so now we're going to talk about risk and knowing your investor profile or your risk profile, or how you tolerate risk. Now that we understand the psychology behind money, let's take that a step further to understand how that plays into your risk profile or how you feel. So in episode 4, we talked about money mindset, and we talked about how the wealthy understand that they deserve wealth, they're confident in their ability to create wealth, but most importantly, they understand the role that risk plays in the creation of wealth. And so I thought it would be really fun for me to take this risk profile quiz along with you. As I'm asking myself and I'm answering these questions for you, I want you to be asking yourself the same questions and answering them for yourselves to figure out what your risk profile is. And so let's do it. Before we get started, I just want to highlight there are 3 categories of risk, and I'm going to go through each one. The first is conservative or risk averse. And this person doesn't want to see any drops in their portfolio. They're like, nope, I don't want it. I want it to go up and to the right, and slow and steady. I am fine with that. I prefer that because I am not willing to see any big losses or experience any losses. The second category is moderate or risk neutral. This person is okay with some volatility in their portfolio. They're not going to swing for the fences all the time. time, but they understand that some change is necessary. And in my opinion, I believe that all marginalized people, that is women, that is people of color, Black women especially, we should all at a minimum be living in this category of risk neutral. And I say that because most of us are starting behind, right? Most of us, we're starting from maybe close to scratch in terms of building wealth for our families. And the only way to really, really build wealth, at least faster than inflation, is through investments and investing in things that are a little bit risky. Basically, things are at least a little bit. Like a risk averse person is just, they're going to put their thing at most an index fund that follows the S&P, and that's fine over time. But if you want bigger wins, then you're going to have to take bigger swings. And then the final category is considered an aggressive investor or an investor who is risk seeking. This person is comfortable with volatility. They absolutely understand that you're going to have ups and downs, and they really understand that in order to have big rewards, you have to take slightly larger risks. But that doesn't mean that this person is frivolous. That doesn't mean that this person is a gambler. That just means that this person understands the role that risk plays in returns, and they're willing to participate. So let's go through the self-assessment. These are multiple choice, by the way. Question 1, how would you feel if your portfolio dropped 10% in 1 year? A, I'd be stressed and probably sell to avoid losing more. B, I'd be concerned, but I wait it out. C, I see it as an opportunity and buy more at a discount. So the me from 3 years ago, unfortunately, was square in B, right? If I talked about the first, when I bought crypto and we went through a crypto winter and I was just like white knuckling it. I did not sell because I was like, I did not sell it because I knew better than to do that. But I was uncomfortable to buy more, and I should have bought more. I should have, and I didn't. And so now I know, right? You have to learn. And so I'm B trending to C, right? So, and I think it's pretty clear. A, risk is really risk averse. You be freaking out. B, risk neutral. C, risk seeking. All right. Question number 2. What feels worse? Losing $10,000 on an investment or missing out on a $10,000 gain? So A, losing money hurts me worse. B, missing out stings, but losing feels about the same. Or C, missing out drives me crazy because I hate leaving money on the table. And so again, I think y'all probably know I am definitely C. I'm still talking about investments I should have made in 2009, investments I should have made in 2007. I am still thinking about them and they haunt me. And that is why right now, while we're in this AI gold rush, I'm like, yep, in 10 years and in 15 years, you will not hear me saying woulda, shoulda, coulda. And so I am in C, but where are you? Are you in B, risk neutral? Are you in A, risk averse? Okay. Question number 3. When you think about investing, are you more motivated by security or growth? A, security. I want to know my money is safe. B, a balance of both. C, growth. I want my money to work hard and multiply. I am definitely in the C camp. I'm like, yo, I am a young 47 and I know that I'm gonna be living for a long time. I look at my mother, she's 78, she got dementia, but she's 78 and she's still kicking and she gonna be alive for a long time. Like, it's crazy. And so I am going to be here, and by the time I'm 85, I want to have some money. I do. I do not want to be worried about money. And if I'm gonna be in a nursing home, and I tell my daughter this all the time, if I get dementia, put me in the nicest nursing home money can buy and live your life. Come check on me, make sure they ain't treat me bad, but otherwise go live your life, girl. So I need money for that. Yes, I am like trying to get my growth on. All right, that's it. Oh, it's just 3 questions. That's easy. So, love that. Here's the takeaway. So, in closing, money is more than just math. It's behavior. It's the psychology that you have inside. It is your mindset. It is all those things. And just because we started off a certain way and our parents taught us a certain thing, or our family taught us a certain thing, or we saw certain things growing up in the neighborhoods that we grew up in, that does not mean you have to stay there today. Please, please, we get one life. That's it. Live it the way you want. Now, mind you, if you want to be risk averse, That's fine too. I know risk averse people that are living a wonderful life. This thing is, it's really important for you to make decisions about your money that you feel good about, that won't interrupt your sleep, right? However, I do encourage you to consider coming to the middle of the road, because there's just an opportunity here. I think if you could get comfortable with a little bit of volatility, you can create more wealth for your family and for your children if you have them. And there's just a wonderful opportunity for that today that our parents didn't have, right? I don't know if I talked about this before, but you think about when they were coming up, they couldn't just get on their phone and buy stocks. They had to go and figure out who, go to some broker that was probably not going to treat them kindly. And they had to read the paper and chart out like what was going well and wasn't going well. And they had to rely on the newspaper. They had to maybe mail off to the SEC to get 10K filings. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, all of that stuff is at our fingertips. So we should absolutely not be doing what our parents did. Absolutely not. We live in a different time. And so we would be playing ourselves and missing out if we limited ourselves to what they did. So I know you probably did it while we were talking, while you were listening to the podcast, but I do want you to spend some time ruminating. Like, if it's a clear, I'm aggressive, I'm risk seeking, let's go. I still actually want you to really understand the motivation behind it, because frankly, understanding that motivation and understanding how you think and why you think the way you think is going to make you a better investor. It's going to ensure that you invest in things that are aligned and that you are not going to have disrupted sleep. So I do encourage you to spend some time just kind of ruminating on these questions and ruminating on your behaviors and your psychology and your risk profile. And yeah, that was all I have for today. Again, I love talking about this stuff. I am going to always probably find a way to come back to talk about it. But if you found this podcast helpful, please share it with someone. Please give us a 5-star rating, or like and subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, wherever you prefer to get your podcast. And that is all for this week. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week where we talk about corporate benefits. Bye.